If we take a look at how server environments have grown over time, we started with traditional rack servers, where we'd take a rack and we'd put a bunch of servers into it. We'd have to then put switching into it, such as fiber channel switching for our storage connectivity, or Ethernet switching for our network connectivity, and sometimes we'd even have what we call rack managers in there to manage our servers across the environment. Now, as this grew, it actually became unmanageable, and we thought that we could really save on power and cooling by designing a system where we didn't have to rebuy the power supplies and rebuy the fans every time we bought a new server. We also wanted to fit more compute power and more servers into a rack. So we came out with something that we called a blade server. The problem is we basically took that same rack architecture and we built it into the blade chassis. So now we needed 2 Ethernet switches and 2 fiber channel switches for every 16 servers that we plugged into a chassis. And that chassis needed to be managed, so then we had to have additional chassis managers. And we just replicated that over and over again per rack. So if you take a look at the traditional rack servers, we actually had far less connections coming out of the rack than when we started to build these blade server architectures where we had multiple connections per chassis and we had multiple chassis that could fit in every rack. So this kind of organically grew over time. And although we thought we were solving the problem with blade servers, what we ended up doing is creating more complexity and more cable management issues inside of data centers, and sucking up more power and producing more heat because we were inefficient at cooling them, and it just kind of spiraled out of control. So this is what data center managers had to deal with. They had to deal with a combination of rack servers and a combination of these blade servers. A lot of times it started out really nice and everybody cabled everything together really nice, but then there would be a move, an add, or a change, and that would just cause havoc to my traditional rack architecture. As blades came in, it became very structured, but the amount of connections that I needed to bring into those blades was just massive. And so it was more structured, but man, did I have a lot of cables. It was almost impossible to manage. And that's what leads us to UCS. Cisco saw the need for a new server platform. We had these same issues in our own data centers. So not only did we feel this burden, but we knew all our customers did as well. So let's keep moving along in our lessons and let's talk about how Cisco UCS can help us solve some of these problems. Please join me for the next lesson, 1.3, Examining Rack Mount Servers.